Hey guys, so today we are going to, and I don't know if it's today or if it's going to be multiple days, but we're going to do a little video, show you this tractor that we have. It is, I believe, although serial numbers are a little sketchy on this one, a 1959 Ford 871. So it's the larger, the 173 horsepower four-cylinder Ford with the Select-O-Speed transmission. And when we purchased it, it was running great. It currently will not start. So there's an issue somewhere either in the electrical or the fuel system, which we have to figure out. We also have to put new tires all the way around because they're dry rot, and replace the rear rims because they are rotted through because of the sodium chloride load. So we're pulling the front wheels off today. We're going to jack it up, put it on jack stands, take the wheels with us. We will clean up those rims, and I have tires to put on them. Monday morning, I will have transported new rims and tires and left them here in front of the tractor, and a local tire service is going to come, and they're going to swap out and put new tubes and put the rims, new tires on the rims, so that it will be up to me to take these wheels off this tractor, remove the hubs, put the hubs on the new rims, and then mount the new tires and rims on this tractor. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, that over the next 3 or 4 days, we have a good running tractor with all brand new tires and rims that we can then trailer up to New York. So we're going to do a portion of that today.
Bud.
Hey
Here.
What are you doing? What are you doing, huh? What are you doing? Oh, is the big stinky one wet?
Uh-oh.
You are. Why are you always wet? Seriously, dude. Why are you always covered in crap and wet? Huh? Huh?
I don't want to get wet. Dude, I don't want to get wet.
So these wheels haven't been off in quite a while. The rims are actually still pretty good. They just need to be cleaned up and painted. The tires, as you can see, are cracked and dry rotted. So we're going to preemptively put a new set of tires on this tractor. I am going to just hit everything here real quick with a little bit of PB Blaster, the old school WD-40, and let that soak while I start to jack it up and get it on stands.
So we're up here trying to prep. This is a friend's farm, and we are working on getting parts off the tractor to prep her for transport to Big Spruce.
All right, so I've got this 24-inch breaker bar. Judging by the look of this, these wheels have probably not been off this tractor in over 20 years. Generally, if you're not leaving these out in the sun, these tires last quite a while. Breaker bar, front wheels on this particular tractor, the 801 series, are 16-inch. I think these are 4.5, the rims, but we're putting 16 by 6.5 tires. Gives us a little bigger footprint and also allows us to load more weight into the interior of the tire. It gives us an extra like 25 pounds of ballast for traction and steering. So I got to use this to get these off. Once we get these loosened, there it is. We've already hit these with a little bit of the PB blaster to penetrate and get in there a little bit. Once I get them, you know, a half turn loose, I will then go and do the same on the other side and get those slightly loosened. And we will then jack it up off the ground slightly and put jack stands under it. Oh. All right, so that was pretty easy. Let's do the other side. All right, take it back. This ratcheting thing, as long as it doesn't break, is not so bad.
Well, I have to say, having had to get lug nuts off of tires that were tightened mechanically, I have had to stand on breaker bars just to have that extra additional torque, because George can use arm strength. I don't have that kind of arm strength.
You know, we're doing this in a way that it's not that nothing can go wrong. You know, it's that if something catastrophically goes wrong and I'm here, this isn't going to fully collapse at any point. It's not going to roll over on me, you know?
It's a good thing.
It may fall. There's the possibility it could pop off or something could happen, but it's only going to be like, you know, pretty minor. More of a, ooh, that scared me a little bit than hurt anything if I stay out from underneath of it.
And the fact that the tire's rotating means it's high enough, right?
Correct. I just need it I've already loosened these. I'm going to take this.
Are you going to put the jack stand up?
I will. The thing is that the size of all this stuff and where it is, it needs to, I actually need to get the tire kind of off and then lower it onto the jack stand.
Oh, I got you.
That's what I did with the other one. It's just, it's at an awkward place where I would love to get it another couple clicks up in the air and lower it onto the jack stand and then do all of this. But it's at a place where it's right at, you know, it's at an awkward spot.
Gotcha.
So I've done the heavy torquing part where I'm putting a lot of pressure against the machine and the machine is wobbling and stuff like that. And now I'm just literally doing the loosen the bolts, and I'm trying to do as least wiggling of the machine as possible because I don't want to have to deal with what happens if it does fall off the jack.
Right.
It is kind of noisy. All right, so at this point, of course, we get the tractor wheels off the tractor, get them into our vehicle, take them home, get the tires off and start cleaning the rims up. And then when we're just about done cleaning up the rims, we of course promptly lose all of our video footage. Weirdly, there were like 2 little videos clips that were left somehow of me using one of those flappy sander discs on my grinder to get the wheels clean. But it was kind of irrelevant because I realized as I was doing that it just wasn't going to fully work, that I couldn't get into all the nooks and crannies. So I put a call out to some friends, and a buddy of mine said, hey, come over, use my sandblaster cabinet. All right, so you guys saw me working on these front wheels for the Ford 871 the other day, and as you could see, it was taking forever to kind of get into all the nooks and crannies using a grinder and a flap sanding wheel. So after posting on the IG about it, my buddy Alex reached out to me and said I should just bring these over to his shop, which is where I am now. He's got a nice size sanding cabinet, sandblasting cabinet here at the shop that he said he's happy to let me use. So I've already got the first wheel half done, all cleaned up, all the nooks and crannies clean, and I'm going to finish that one up and then throw the second wheel in. It's nice to hang out and see Alex, but it's also nice to get this done quickly as opposed to taking hours and hours and making a giant mess. So let's get to it. So I'm just about done with the first wheel. As you can see, huge difference. Most everything has been removed. I got this little last section to do, which is going way quicker than the interior where everything was really super rusted and pitted. Luckily, the other wheel is not nearly as bad as this one. The other one is mostly just paint removal. All right, now it's on to wheel number 2. So it's the next day, and I have, yesterday I sandblasted the front rims for the 871, and today I am sitting here on the porch doing a little bit of edge work using a dolly and a peening hammer and kind of cleaning up the edges of these old tractor rims to get them as straight as possible. You know, with these old rims, they don't need to be perfectly straight and perfectly balanced. The top speed of this tractor is 20 miles an hour. I think it actually goes a little faster than that, but honestly, in I think 10th gear is its top gear, it's a little scary. It's too fast for what it is. So this should help a little bit. This is just kind of getting you know, the edges cleaned up. Once I get these clean and wiped down well, I'm about to put the the primer, the self-etching primer coat on them. So I'll do that real quick and get them at least mostly coated, let them sit in the sun and cure up, and then hopefully get the first coat of paint on them today. But I just got a package of parts in the mail from Steiner Tractors, and it is a variety of ignition, or I should say power system, wiring system, the spark part of my tractor. So the plug wires were a little gnarly. They were dry rot. I don't know that that is the issue and why it won't start. I don't think so. It's actually not sending or energy from the coil center. So I'm hoping that it's just as simple as just fluke. It was running great. The coil gave out and now it doesn't run. I have a brand new coil. I have some new wires, and I have a few other little odds and ends that are super worn and needed to be replaced. So that I'm just going to go ahead and do that because it was, you know, like 20 bucks. I might as well just get the parts and make them new. So I'm going to hopefully go do that today. I may even pick up a Christine and take her along with me, but let's get a first primer coat on these wheels because these wheels need to get done this weekend. The goal is to be taking this tractor up to Ithaca Monday morning. We'll see what happens. All right, so I've got the rims pretty much cleaned up at this point, and I've primed them. I've put the first coat on the interior of them with some black tractor and implement paint, and now I'm cleaning up the nuts that hold the rims on. Most of the places that I see these, I see them painted red, so that's what I'm going to do. This is what they look like now. They are sort of rusty and covered in cream colored paint, I guess. We're going to clean them up a little bit and then we will paint them red. All right, so just a real quick look at what we are starting with. So this is what they look like right off the tractor. And this is what they look like once they've been sanded down. I'm not making them perfect. They're lug nuts, but I'm getting the rust off and a good majority of the paint off, cleaning them up. I will then hit them with a little bit of red paint before we install them. All right, so I've gotten 6 of the lug nuts done and 6 to go. So let's get those finished real quick and then check on our rims to see how the paint is cured up and see if it's time to put the face coat. I'm actually using International Harvester White, which is a sort of an antique whitish tan color. That is going to be the color I'm using for the light colors of the tractor. I know that it is not factory correct for this tractor. Factory correct would be a light gray, but I'm choosing to use the tan ish white color instead. But anyway, let's get to finishing up our second set of front wheel lug nuts right now. All right, well, that's that. I cleaned up the nuts for the front tractor wheels and ready to put a little bit of paint on them. Hopefully this works out. I guess worst case scenario, it doesn't adhere great and I have to go and touch it up, or maybe I won't touch it up. But I'm gonna go ahead and lay these out on a little bit of cardboard here. These are not in perfect shape, but it's what I have. I'm gonna try to make this tractor look decent, but it's more important that it be functional. So a lot of what I'm doing is literally just to ensure that it doesn't, you know, get super rusty and fall apart. The idea moving forward is going to be that this will, you know, it'll be our general sort of scraping and road maintenance tractor, as well as bush hogging. Well, flail mowing, in fact. But that being said, it's not going to be sitting out in the rain collecting rust. We're going to put it in the barn. We're going to try to take care of it and keep it because it's a great looking tractor. And I mean, come on, these days to get a 65 horsepower tractor, you're talking $45,000–$50,000. When this is all said and done, my expectation for the tractor, for sort of rehabbing things, getting it working correctly and getting it functional where it's going to basically, with basic maintenance, should maintain quite well for the next 10 years. This is going to be about a $6,000 tractor, all said and done. So that being said, I think it's well worth spending a little bit of time and putting a few $1,000s into it to ensure that it lasts another decade or 2 decades or more. I mean, let's face it, this tractor was made over 60 years ago and it still works. So let's just do a little bit to keep it working. All right, so here's another one. I know that some of you guys will probably hate me for this, but when we were initially looking, Ford Red was really hard to come by. You just couldn't find it from, I guess Rust-Oleum makes, you know, sort of 8 or 10 aftermarket colors. No Ford Red there. The company that makes this, which you can pick up at tractor supply stores, they did not have it when we initially got paint. Whether they have it now or not, I don't know. But honestly, I like the New Holland Red a little bit better. It is a bit on the darker side. It's not quite as bright as the Ford paint. I'm using way too big of a screwdriver here. I feel like we're just gonna muscle that off. But I think this is gonna be what we're gonna go with. We're gonna go with the International Harvester White and the New Holland Red. We'll see, you know. I'm usually pretty good at taking a look at colors and thinking about how they're gonna come together and what they're gonna look like. So I think this is gonna be a pretty spectacular looking combination. And yes, not factory correct, but it should be a good looking and hard working tractor. So let's see. I gotta say, that's just a little more purpley than I expected. All right. We'll let that set up, and tomorrow we'll give it a second coat. All right, so I've let these wheels cure overnight. Obviously, the lug nuts have been painted, at least the first coat, and I think that's all I'm going to do for right now. They covered actually pretty well. I'd like them to just sit up for a couple of days before I actually put them on the tractor, and at some point in the future, I will most likely take them off, give them a light sanding, and put a second coat on them to really cover them well. But right now, I need to get everything cured up and on the tractor so we can get it up to New York. So here's what the wheels look like. So I got my primer coat on both sides, self-etching. I have given 2 coats to the interior with a straight up black implement paint that is pretty fast drying. This is the one that's made by Rust-Oleum, I believe. So this cures up in like 24 hours. You can handle it within an hour or 2. So I chose to just paint it with this because, again, these need to get on the tractor this weekend. I don't have time to wait for the better paint to completely cure up for a 24-hour cycle before I can coat it. So here is the other wheel. I've given it the first coat of the Magic tractor and implement spray, which this stuff goes on great. I gotta say that it goes on really thick, and it's an old school paint formulation for sure. These wheels aren't perfect. There's still some gouges and nicks in them, but you know, for a tractor this looks pretty good. So I'm gonna get this second one painted, the first coat. We'll let this sit overnight. We'll give them a second coat tomorrow morning, and they will be ready to put on the tractor probably Sunday. A couple of days to cure up. All right, so that does it for the first coat of I'm using International Harvester White. There are no Ford colors that are gonna be on this Ford when it's all said and done, but that looks pretty good. And on top of it, check this out. Look at how nice that Massey Ferguson red? No, what was it? I don't remember. This is not Ford red, but it's a darker red, and it looks fantastic against this International Harvester White, which is actually kind of a little more of a tan than the light gray that the Ford color is. Super stoked about this. Okay, so we're gonna let these sit up. Once these have sat for a while, we're gonna give them a second coat, and we will get them on the tractor. We need to get, tubes and tires. I have the tires, I have the tubes. We need to get this done this weekend and get this thing up to the farm so we can start cutting grass. All right, guys, I think we're gonna cut it off here for this video. It's getting a bit long. There's still more to do. Come back next time and see the conclusion of us getting the tire sets and the wheels on the tractor and hopefully getting it running. And until next time, like this video if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks so much for supporting us at Big Spruce Farm. See ya.